Welcome to our RFP Money Story podcast, a space for sharing real money stories and where we dive into real conversations about finance, success, and the lessons learned along the way. Joining us today is a head of customer experience in Call Fund Source and almost 6 years RFP member. Everyone meet Mr. Carlo Biglang Awa. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, Gab, and to all our listeners. Thank you for the opportunity and thank you for having me and excited to share my stories to all our listeners today. Yeah.
All right, we're actually excited to hear about your story. Lalo na we're about to begin about your personal financial journey. So, before we start, what's your first memory of money and how did it shape your financial mindset?
Yeah, very interesting, no. I can recall when I was still in elementary. I think I'm grade 1. So during that time, my mom used to share to me some Filipino-Chinese money mindset. Kasi my mom was a half Chinese, so may mga stories about her dad na parang sinasabi niya dapat nagba-budget. So nung time na yon, elementary days, usually may allowance sa school eh. Tapos iniisip ko kung gagastusin ko ba siya pang bili ng magkain or yung mga small toys after class. So during that time na-try ko mag-save kasi merong piggy bank or coin bank during that time. So I'm trying to set aside a portion of it. Kasi nga, hearing from my mom, so ganun pala yung practice ng mga Filipino-Chinese back then. So I think that was the first parang money memory that I can recall, and it gave me a lesson about saving money, ganyan, setting aside a portion, yeah.
Alright, so ever since you started saving at a very young age?
Actually, hindi siya consistent during that time kasi medyo dahil allowance-based pa ako that time, no, as a kid. So sometimes excited pa bumili ng mga toys or mga other items na kailangan. And during that time din kasi medyo naging uso yung online games. So may konting battle, but at least I had that perspective na from my parents na dapat pala talaga nagtatabi. Although not consistent pa.
Alright, so magkano yung mataas na amount na na-save mo when you were a kid?
Yeah. Nung time na yon usually malaki pag Christmas season di ba? Kasi may mga pamasko. So I think malaki na doon yung mga 500 to 1,000 kapag medyo maganda na pamasko. Tapos yung portion kasi medyo nagagastos ko rin for some of the games nung bata, like yung mga uso dati, yung mga Tamiya or any stuff na nagiging trending, di ba? Kasi yung mga millennials, siguro na listeners natin can relate. So, yeah, I think 500 to 1,000 yung pinakamalaki na naipon ko during elementary days.
How do you save ba? Yung traditional way na piggy bank or tinatago sa ilalim ng unan?
Nung time na yun, usually sa piggy bank.
Okay.
So, parang nakaka-excite whenever you see na yung piggy bank mo medyo mabigat na. Meaning, dumadami na. Tapos, yun nga lang, hindi pa ganun ka-clear kung bakit ako nagsisave. So, minsan, pag puno na, isipin mo na ulit, pwede mo na itong pambili ng laruan or anything na tingin mo kailangan sa school. So, yun.
But growing up, kasi that time, bata ka pa nun But growing up, yung college ka na or nag-earn ka na, maraket-raket ka na. Ano yung financial lesson na you think na dapat natutunan mo na to when you were younger?
Yeah. Nung naalala ko, 2013, I graduated in FEU, no? So, first job, medyo excited bumili ng mga gusto mong gamit kasi nung nag-aaral din, again, medyo limited So, very budgeted, tapos sakto lang talaga per day yung allowance. I think the main lesson that I got when I started earning money is really the value of delayed gratification. Kasi, nung bata naman ako, alam ko lang na it's good to save, pero without the intent of a purpose na paggagamitan, then wala pa akong delayed gratification back then So I think marami ring opportunities sana na pwedeng na-save ko siya tapos nagamit ko for a meaningful expenses or meaningful purpose for my family. So I think, delayed gratification is a valuable lesson that I learned when I graduated started earning my first salary. So, if I will look back then, siguro pwedeng natutunan ko rin siya nung high school or college. Then, maybe nalagay ko na rin sa isang investment platform. So, yan.
So, nung first work mo, you're like more of a spender than saving?
Good question, no? I would say first 6 months, medyo spender pa. Pero I had a wake-up call again because of my mom and dad. So, tinanong nila, nakakapagtabi ka na ba? Or may nasi-set aside ka na ba? So, during my 6 month na working experience, medyo naparemind lang ako sa sarili ko na, oo nga, no, dapat pala may sineset aside ako. Kasi medyo excited ka bumili ng mga gamit kasi nga from school. So, from the first 6 months, spender, pero after that, I became a saver na. So, consistently, nagtatabi na ako ng 10% of my income. Medyo maliit pa yung income ko back then. So, siguro to give a figure, I started with a salary of 14,000 pesos, 2013. So, ang naging savings ko per month is 2,000. Masaya lang kasi nung nagkaroon na ako ng consistent savings, nagkaroon ng fulfillment from spender to saver na. Yan.
Up until now?
Yeah, up
Or
until now.
How do you consider yourself right now as an investor, spender, or saver na? Do you invest ba into something?
Actually, since then, nag-start na ako mag-save, I would like to share to our listeners na there will be life seasons kasi. So, there's a season in my life na ang daling mag-ipon. So, since 2013 to, I would say, hanggang bago ikasal, 2018, no? I got married kasi 2018. So, smooth lang and syempre by God's grace, then, natatabi ko yung salary ko noon kasi I don't need to support my family back then kasi my parents are still working, ganyan. So, blessing na nakakapagtabi consistently. But the reason why I mentioned na there's a season sa life, so 2013 to 2018, madali Parang single pa lang and smooth sailing. Tapos, dumating yung time kasi na syempre, I realized that I had this vision na rin of settling down. So, nagkaroon ako ng girlfriend. Medyo flashback lang ng konti. Around 2015. So, shout out to my wife. Baka panoorin niya tong episode na to, no? So, 2015, nagkaroon ng girlfriend. Nakakapag-save pa rin, pero nag-slow down. Siguro yung mga nanliligaw ngayon can relate, di ba? Kasi, syempre, sa mga dates nyo rin, sa simula, ikaw yung mag-social off nung pangkain. Pero pinag-usapan din naman namin na sabi ko, transparent ako sa kanya na I'm saving this portion of my income. So if ever are you comfortable na pag-usapan yung pera, so nag-try kami mag-usap. So sabi naman niya, pwede naman daw siya mag-contribute. So medyo nagko-contribute siya sa mga gastos. Pero nag-slow down kasi syempre from being single, na sarili mo lang iniisip mo. So save. Tapos nag-i-invest din ako a portion of my salary. Kasi yung naging boss ko rin back then, 2014, he introduced me into investing in stocks and funds or mutual funds din. So, nung nagka-girlfriend, medyo bumagal. Tapos 2018 kasi yung kasal namin So, medyo nahati. Instead of just saving everything, may mga kailangan ka nang isettle for the wedding. So, the life season change So, from being a single to being in a relationship to a person who's settling down. Pero the habit of setting aside a portion of my income, nadala na siya. So, I communicated that habit to my girlfriend back then, tas naging fiancé ko. So, at first, medyo hindi niya magets bakit ako kuripot in a sense. Pero, it made sense along the way, especially when we are starting na sa pagplano sa wedding, tapos syempre may kailangan kang bayaran ng mga suppliers. So from spender to saver to investor, but then again, it depends on the life season talaga So at least I'm sharing my journey para sa mga listeners natin, and the delayed gratification really helped me. Kasi among millennials, yung mga kabatch ko rin na nagtatrabaho or into business, one of the main reason for them not saving money or investing is the lifestyle din, yung lifestyle inflation. So I really think na in every life stage, kapag nasimulan mo yung habit mo na nagsiset aside ka, it will be compounded into your next life stage, especially when you started a family. So yun.
Alright, I'm curious dun sa, nung single ka, like 2,000 yung nasa-save up a month. But ever since you had a girlfriend, magkano na lang yung nasa-save mo per month?
Oo, nice. Nice question, no? Ang good thing naman, kasi yung salary din kasi or income,
nag-increase na.
nag-increase din. Gradually rin, hindi naman siya ganun kabilis. And I realized then, hearing from my mentors, from the seminars that I've attended, trainings, the more you add value rin kasi sa organization, may it be in your employment or in your business, the more you can also increase your earning capacity.
Yes.
So, gradually din naman, lumalaki yung earning capacity. So, from the 2,000, medyo nadadagdagan. And yung strategy ko rin back then, kapag merong big chunk of bonus or extra income, as much as possible, I try to save 70% of it. Kasi on a monthly basis, medyo, nung nagka-girlfriend na nga, to your question, medyo mahirap na mag-save. So, kumbaga minsan 10%, minsan lesser than 10%. But I see to make it a habit na if there's a big chunk of income na pumasok, I try to save 70% of it. Para lang makompensate yung mga months na nag-slow down yung 10% ko na target savings. Yeah.
Alright, pero yung girlfriend mo back then, ano yun? Parang may joint account ba kayo or separate account talaga?
Okay. Nung time na yon dahil we're still in a relationship,
Yeah.
hindi pa naman kami joint account. Ang ginawa namin, meron kaming Excel file. So, sa Excel file namin, nakatrack if magkano na yung nasisave niya, magkano yung nasisave ko. Tapos, we try to make it a habit na sa date nights namin, hindi naman laging pinag-uusapan yung money, but at least, we tried to make it more conversational, na natural lang na pag-uusapan. Kasi sometimes yun yung struggle ng ibang couple na parang hindi sila comfortable pag-usapan yung money. So yun, meron kaming Excel file and tracker to monitor
Okay,
it. Yeah.
so transparent kayo kung magkano na yung naiipon nyo.
Transparent
Yung ipon na
kami.
yun, it's for your own or it's for the wedding?
More on, we try to add a label on that particular saving. Di ba? Pwedeng a portion of it, emergency funds namin. Meron naman, nung nagpe-prepare na kami for wedding, we try to set a budget na, itong amount na to for our wedding na to. So, naka-allocate na siya for that particular purpose. Kasi I think, ang important din for our listeners to learn is that if you add a name on each peso or there's a purpose in each peso, it will be more easier, or at least we will be more motivated to set aside. Kasi minsan pag walang purpose, madaling gastusin, di ba? Kunyari, naging significant na pwedeng gastusin na natin for travel. Pero if may nakapeg ka or naka-allocate ka na for a specific reason, madali kang makakapag-allocate or magiging consistent ka. Yan.
Alright, I'm a bit interested about that on just what you said. Yung needs and wants natin as a human being, hindi naman nawawala yun.
Yes.
May mga luho tayo. How do you handle your budgeting or your financial decision knowing na there's already may plus one ka na in life?
Yeah, good point, no? Kasi in every life stage din, mag-iiba yung strategy. So when I was still single, more on I'm just accountable to my close friends na I'm setting aside this amount, nag-i-invest ako. Then when I had spouse na, nung kinasal na kami, no, 2018, what I learned din kasi is to really be transparent. So if may mga major or minor decision, I inform her. So kaya nga usually, di ba, yung mga may asawa dyan, may mga spill sila na I will ask my wife first, di ba? Kasi para at least align kayo, lalo na kung major expense. Pero kung mga minimal naman, like day to day, ano naman kami, basta alam namin yung budget, kahit hindi ko naman na siya inform. But in case of major decisions, so kasi syempre, ano yan kumbaga, siya yung sign off, di ba? Para hindi rin siya magugulat. Kasi yung mga stories din na naririnig ko sa mga seminars or sa mga consultations na nagawa ko rin as a registered financial planner, minsan yung iba nagugulat yung spouse nila. They bought a significant, let's say, collector siya, meron siyang biniling bagay na medyo more than 10K yung value, minsan nagugulat yung spouse kasi nasisira yung budget. So ako ngayon, I usually inform her kapag ka mga major decisions or major expenses. Then nag-uusap kami kung is this part of our needs for this season or it's a want. Kasi may mga priorities If you're already married or you have a family or you're just planning to settle down, nag-iiba yung priorities. So like, before having kids, kasi ngayon may dalawa na kaming kids, ang iniisip pa namin nun is to travel, pero ngayon medyo nag-slow down muna sa travel, more on may priorities lang to build something for the kids.
Yes.
So it's really having an alignment with your family member or spouse or letting them know if in case you have a major financial decision. Yeah.
Are you the one na nag-handle ng finances at home?
Ngayon, ngayon siya na. Kasi dati ako yung mas proactive. But now, since I tried to empower her din, para at least siya na yung mag-iisip. Pinasa talaga no? Pero nagkakaroon na lang kami ng alignment discussion. So, let's say dumating yung income, binibigay ko na sa kanya lahat yan. So, tips sa mga husband dyan, diba? Bigyan nyo na agad para at least aligned na kayo. Then, usap na lang kami sa ano yung budget for the month, ano yung kailangan i-adjust. So, initially, I was the one handling, but now, I'm happy rin na siya na.
Okay, so, dun sa income mo na yun, may part ka pa rin dun, like on your own savings?
Ngayon kasi we treat it as one na. So, parang meron na lang akong allowance in a way.
Okay.
Ganun.
So, ganun yung setup niya pala.
Oo, ganun na. It works for some. Sa iba naman, may separate bank account sila, may separate tracker. It really depends kung ano yung nag-work. But for us, effective naman na bigay ko na sa kanya lahat. Tapos kung ano yung kailangan ko for the week or the month, bibigyan na lang ako ng allocation. Tapos siya na bahala. Pero nagpapaalam ako pag merong paglalagyan na investment kasi syempre yung knowledge and skill pa rin sa investing, it's with me. Pero at least sa budgeting saka savings sa kanya na. So yun.
Speaking of tracker, do you have your tracker? Ano ba? Digital, traditional, or what kind of tracker do you have?
Yeah. Nowadays, what we are doing is to really combine the digital and the traditional Excel file. So, meron kaming Excel file. Kasi yung Excel file, it allowed us to track the monthly, annual, or even looking at the 5 years budget, for example, or projections. It's good kasi to see the short-term and long-term para you can see where your money is going, or if you have a target, you can see the progress. Kasi ang natutunan din namin is that it's really taking small steps. Pero if you have a bigger picture of what can be the possibilities, you will be more motivated and you will be more encouraged na kahit na you're starting with a small amount pero you have a projection for 5 years, 10 years, ito pala yung tinitignan ninyo, let's say for retirement, kasi nga it's very important to really prepare, but in case there will be some changes in the short term, dito naman namin ginagamit yung digital tools, no? So we're using a finance app din para sa mobile, very handy if you're outside, if you want to record your expenses for the day, madali siyang ma-record and you can look at it pag ilalagay na sa Excel file. So we're trying to take advantage of both the traditional and the digital space of financial recording. Minsan nga sa paper din yung wife ko, gusto niya pa nag-uusap, sinusulat niya pa rin. So, yun.
That's great. That's great pala. How did you come up with that? Bakit bigla kayo nagkaroon ng tracker? Bakit minomonitor niyo? Saan ang galing?
Yeah, good question, no? Kasi nung pagka-start ko sa work, 2013, my boss was an accountant. Then he encouraged me to have a tracker then. So nakita ko sa kanya, na-inspired din ako. Then when I was when I was in college, I always see my mom na nagsusulat ng expenses for the day. So I think it's a series of inspiration from the people around me, combination of my family members and even yung mga naging colleagues ko rin. Then eventually rin, I attended a seminar last if I'm not mistaken, 2013 din. It's a finance talk wherein actually the person who inspired me rin to become a registered financial planner, if I can shout out to Sir Randall Chongson and Sir Marvin Jermo, they conducted a finance seminar. So sabi ko, ang saya, I think, to educate Filipinos about this. Kasi I had the passion rin talaga to contribute into the landscape of financial planning in the Philippines. So that's 2013. So I got inspired with my parents and with the colleagues, no? So because of those series of events in my life, looking back, I can see na yun pala yung naging influence ko. Kaya nung single, I had this tracker na. Tapos nung nagka-girlfriend, I introduced it to her. Hanggang sa nung kinasal na nga kami,
Nagtuloy-tuloy.
nagtuloy-tuloy na. It made sense eh. Sabi nga nila, you can only connect the dots backwards eh. So now I can connect the dots. That's why having this type of conversation, this type of content is really important. So we can reach out to more people, just like what happened to me. So because I attended a seminar, and yeah, the rest is history.
Alright, so basically, na-expose ka to finance field,
Yeah.
especially to people na mas knowledgeable when it comes to finance. Kaya mas na-motivate ka to monitor.
Yes.
So you're very meticulous in budgeting. On your financial decisions.
Yeah, not really meticulous in the aspect of parang micro, but it's more on the macro naman. We're just trying to look at the major expenses. Then we are somehow flexible, pero we have a goal na meron dapat ma-set aside for savings, investment, etc., etc. Yeah.
What about investments? What kind of investments do you have?
When I started nung 2014, nagsimula ako sa local stocks. Tapos eventually, I tried yung mutual funds nung 2017. And then right now, I tried the global funds na rin kasi I got exposed din ngayon sa global funds, no? So, what I learned naman, having this portfolios, hindi pa naman siya sobrang laki, but it's really about the perspective on why we are investing kasi nga we want to prepare for the future, like the retirement, diba? And it's really about creating a diversified portfolio. Kasi right now, for those who are very savvy in terms of what's happening in the market, diba? May mga transitions sa leadership globally. So the market is really very volatile. So saying the lessons that I've learned lang, and the journey that I had, it's not really smooth sailing, but it's really knowing the purpose and having a diversified asset. So combination of bonds, equities, or fixed income. Kasi nga, ang sinishare ko rin sa mga sessions or seminars, if I had an opportunity to share my parang investment journey, thinking about long-term pa din, while also navigating the risk and reward ratio. Kasi hindi naman siya about reward palagi, but also having consistent pero you're able to manage the risk. Kasi there's really volatility. So, but yeah, to answer your question, what I have are just stocks and funds. I'm not yet into the crypto or other type of investments. I'm into REITs din pala recently kasi when the REITs was launched, I think 2021 if I'm not mistaken, I got interested din kasi nga you had an access na into real estate investments, pero kasi sa REITs medyo mas mababa yung capital na kailangan compared to a traditional property. Yan.
Yung investments nyo, is that on your own or as husband and wife?
Sa ngayon, it's on my personal account, pero nilagay ko na rin yung wife ko dun sa more of parang nakatag na rin siya dun sa account itself. Pero yung monitoring, more on ako lang. Pero ina-update ko lang siya na ito yung nangyayari, ito yung gains, ito yung loss, kung meron, syempre. Ito yung dividends, if there's any dividend. So it's more of yung technical side, ako na yung nagmo-monitor, then I just inform my wife kung ano na nangyayari.
Is there an investment na it didn't work out?
Sa akin, siguro dahil medyo conservative ako, I think kahit may loss kasi sa mga naging investments ko, I think it's still in the perspective kasi of long term eh. So for me, it's not really looking into it as something that did not work out, but it's just an investment na may volatility, but the volatility naman is manageable kasi nga I'm really, I would say, combination na siguro moderately aggressive lang, pero if there's a certain investment kasi na hindi ako sigurado, hindi rin ako naglalagay. So I would say it's somehow naman aligned with my values. I think the reason why I have investments na hindi naman all kumita, pero wala naman yung it didn't work out, is that my main parameter then is that I will only invest in something that I understand, like funds and stocks. and I'm very, very risk averse. I see to it to study that particular opportunity if it really makes sense, especially in my life season. Kasi iba rin nung single eh. Nung single ako, kahit na may losses, okay lang eh. Pero ngayon, I'm very careful.
Apektado talaga lahat.
Oo, so yun, being diversified, knowing the purpose, knowing the type of investment. Kaya I think I can say naman na it's working naman. But it's really not a one-time, big time, but it's gradual, but steady returns lang yung meron ako ngayon.
So
Yeah.
basically, you're saying na yung mga investment mo right now, they're doing fine naman.
Generally fine, but since the market is down, apektado rin. Pero hindi siya yung point na sobrang affected ako. Kasi I see to it din na it's just an excess on top of our priorities. But then, there will be seasons pa rin talaga na challenging eh. May time din sa financial journey namin na hindi rin kami talaga makapag-invest. Then, ang priority lang namin is to really save or at least yung mga immediate needs. Siguro yun yung magandang i-share din sa listeners namin. Natin pala, sorry. May mga times na hindi siya smooth sailing. So may mga season din na nag-stop kami sa savings, nag-stop kami sa investing, and we just tried to focus on the day-to-day. Kasi when the pandemic hit last 2020, we had our firstborn then during that time. So it was really difficult, and I think a lot of us here can relate. And we tried to slow down in terms of investing. So stop muna. Tapos priorities lang day to day, ano yung mga kailangan like food, 'di ba, yung mga immediate needs ng bata. So it was difficult, and I think all of the listeners can relate at a certain point in their lives, kasi hindi naman siya laging bullish, if I may say, in relation to investment. There will be some bearish stage talaga. And ang mahalaga doon is your discipline pa rin. Kasi you will always go back to the habit that you've established over the years, the habit of setting aside. So once you're able na to recover, so nung 2020, 'di ba, nagkaroon ng challenges, stop muna kami. Siguro after a year bago kami naka-recover, kasi nga everyone naman naka-experience ng challenges, 'di ba? So when the lockdown is slowly opening up, so I'm trying to look for certain opportunities to earn extra. So after a year, I think that's the point lang ulit na medyo naka-recover na kami. So yun, ang maganda lang talaga yung maintindihan natin na there will be life stages and seasons, but you will always go back to the foundations. Kaya mahalaga yung discipline and habit, because it will be compounded. So if you settle down, if you started investing again, then you're on the right track.
Actually, next question ko is how do you recover from that, yung parang hindi smooth sailing yung investment? Is that how do you recover it from it? Na parang naghanap ka talaga ng racket, or may iba ka pang strategy or technique na ginawa before?
Yeah, during that time, dahil lockdown din, we tried to be creative, kasi sometimes if your income is limited, which I think majority of the younger generation na encounter nila yung limited income. So the way to really overcome that point in my life, or sa mga nakikinig ngayon, is to really look for an extra income. So I also tried to look for extra income online. So I tried becoming a content creator back then, kasi nasa bahay pa, lockdown, I have the luxury of time to create content. So I actually had a podcast then back then, so minsan may mga opportunities to offer your services. So if you're an employee, maybe you can do a side hustle. So ako noon, ang nag-work sa akin, meron ako mga parang racket din talaga na offering about certain service or certain product on top of the monthly income during the time na I'm employed. So, kasi sometimes, it's really about the opportunities around you. So, I love what RJ Ledesma mentioned when I had the chance to interview him rin in a podcast setup. Sabi niya, it's really having an entrepreneurial mindset. So, I see to it to look for opportunities then, which you will solve problems din sa community. Ano yung problems na pwede mong isolve para you can have extra income. So, yeah.
Alright, since we're talking about yung turning point or yung down point natin financially, yung kanina kasi is more investments, diba? How about yung when you started your own career? Is there any downfall financially on your end, and how did you recover from it?
Okay. Sa career ko kasi when I started 2013, ang naging challenge ko noon is trying to find my niche or my strength din kasi it's okay naman to work in a certain field, then you can just kumbaga comply or do it just for the sake of doing it. The challenges that I've encountered was really looking into the strength. Ano ba yung career ko na pwedeng align din sa strength ko?
Yes.
Kasi nag-struggle ako in the aspect of pursuing that field for a long period of time. Although, by God's grace naman and with the help of my bosses, back then, I was in auditing, so more of internal audit. So, nagagawa ko naman at the bare minimum na expectations ng mga boss, diba? So, nakakapag-deliver naman. Pero, the struggle is to really be excellent, meaning to contribute outside of the expectation. So, during that time, strength coach helped me. So, si Val Bagios, if I can share lang, shout out to Coach Val. So, he helped me in terms of knowing the different strengths that I have. And of course, si Sir Jason Loren and Randall Chongson and Henry Ong din, syempre. So, I realized na ang strength ko pala is to really serve people in the aspect of financial services. So, after my auditing role, I tried to focus na in financial services, relationship, or helping them navigate their financial journey. So, it helped me in the sense of having a fulfilled role then or career rather than just doing a job na I just wanted to earn a salary or to earn a living. But for others din naman talaga kasi if they're into auditing, I really admire them kasi hindi rin siya madali. So, shout out to all auditors who are listening. So, for me lang, mas naging applicable sa akin yung client servicing, business development. Yeah.
But kasi I was about to ask yung best financial advice na na-receive mo. Since you already dropped names earlier, sila ba yung tinutukoy mo or sila ba yung sagot sa question ka about your finance advice na na-receive mo from them?
Yeah, actually, kasama sila doon. And siguro to narrow down into one financial advice that I got is from Sir Randall Chongson. It's really combining the practical and spiritual aspect of financial planning. Kasi sometimes, pursuing wealth then can be tiring or minsan it's meaningless. But if you look at it in a perspective na aligned sa values mo rin, so you will be motivated and there will be a purpose why you are investing. So I think from Sir Randall Chongson, it's really combining the spiritual and practical side of managing your finances, growing it for a particular purpose, and eventually passing it to the next generation. Kasi success without a successor is still not success to some of us, at least, depending on the perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, totoo naman. But let's talk about now RFP. How did you discover RFP and what motivated you to continue or join the membership?
Yeah. I discovered it then from Randall and Marvin. So, eventually, I found out about Sir Henry Ong then since he's the founder and director of RFP. So, it motivated me to kumbaga to grow my understanding of financial planning. Kasi nga I got exposed into seminars pero my perspective is limited. So I tried to search kung ano ba yung mga programs na pwedeng makatulong sa akin to really understand the full cycle from budgeting to estate planning. So given that these people influence me, then when I had the chance na to enroll, hindi na ako nag-hesitate kasi sabi ko, kailangan ko siya to serve more people and of course to also improve my my financial journey rin. So I'm really thankful din kay Sir Henry Ong kasi he gave me a lot of opportunities when I became a registered financial planner 2019. So, I had the chance then to, siguro to share lang a few, to write articles, and of course with the help of Sir Henry, Sir Renzi rin, and the rest of the RFP community rin. It's really helpful in my career and personal journey. Yeah.
All right. In the span of almost 6 years, since almost 6 years ka na member sa RFP, how did you use your platform, or how did you influence or approach other people when it comes to financial planning?
Yeah. Yeah. For the past 6 years, I became more independent, I would say. Kasi in the aspect of giving educational approach or advice, it's really knowing the person's needs. And because of RFP, I can connect the journey of a person into a particular solution or particular financial product that will be tailor-fitted in their needs. Kasi minsan, in the market, there's a lot of products eh. Pero if hindi clear sa atin kung ano yung needs ng tao, or hindi clear sa atin yung roadmap, hindi natin siya ma-match dun sa need. So because of RFP, I had this hat, or really having a roadmap for the clients or the people that I got to talk to sa mga seminars. Makikita nila, nasan ba ako dito sa roadmap na to? Kasi nga, iba-iba yung journey ng isang tao eh. Iba yung journey ng isang breadwinner, ng single, ng isang may anak. So, iba yung journey ng isang retiree. So, because of the learnings that I got in the program, I had this hat na, or this roadmap that I created with the help of my mentors then, to lay it down to the people who needs a financial plan. Yeah.
All right. So, since you're almost 6-year member here in RFP, is for the sake of our listeners and viewers, is there any valuable lesson that you want to share, or you want to give advice or recommend something to the listeners and viewers about financial planning?
Okay. I think one of the advice that I can share is to really take it one step at a time.
Yeah.
Take it slowly, kasi minsan if we're in a hurry, nagkakaroon tayo ng mistake, or minsan hindi natin napag-iisipan yung financial decision. And it's also good to have a community rin, kasi the struggle of our fellow kababayans or our listeners right now is knowing the right financial step in their head, pero in terms of behavior, hindi nila ma-execute. Kasi nga, it's really behavioral. Kaya dapat they have an accountability partner, or they have a community who can remind them, and they can be vulnerable with. Kasi minsan, if hindi mo ma-open up, hindi ka rin matulungan ng ibang tao. But if you're taking it one step at a time, you have a community. And lastly, siguro, don't compare your journey with others. Kasi bawat isa sa atin, unique yung financial journey eh. So some of us ngayon, if you're looking into the social media, parang it's easy to compare eh. Pero if you are clear kung nasaan ka ngayon sa financial journey mo, you will be confident na you're doing the right thing, and you are, kumbaga, enjoying the process. Kasi most of the time, we want the home run eh, without undergoing the process. So, but if we are clear that it takes a while, it's a process, it's a continuous journey rin, we will not be in a hurry, and magiging domino effect din yan sa mga tao sa paligid natin, especially in our family members, in our community. So, yeah.
All right. So, before we wrap things up, is there anything else that you want to add, or you wanted to promote for social media accounts, if you have books, or you're more on content creation?
All right.
Go ahead.
Sure. So, I'm very active in LinkedIn. So, you can follow me in LinkedIn, Carlo Biglang Awa. And I have a podcast, The Now Finance, in Spotify. Pero hindi pa masyadong active ulit. Hopefully, ma-reactivate. And I have a Facebook page then, and Instagram, The Now Finance. So, just follow me there. And once in a while, if I have time, I write din sa Business Mirror, of course, with the help of RFP. So, yeah, I think those will be the channels that our listeners can check if they want to see other finance perspectives from the guests din sa mga podcast, or some content that they can read online. Yeah.
And that's a wrap on today's episode. Thanks for tuning in. If you love diving into money stories as much as we do, make sure to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify, or visit our official website at rfp.ph for more financial insights. Until next time, keep chasing those money moves.